You ever walk into a place thinking you know exactly how the night's gonna go, then the universe just flips the script on you? Hard? Yeah, that's how it started for me at Avalon's. Right in the heart of Chicago somewhere people like me, apparently, don't belong. You know what I mean? Those were the first words that hit me, sliding out of the waitress's mouth like poison, just loud enough for the whole room to hear. Her name was Emma Young, blonde, face like she'd never had a bad day in her life, and the way she looked at me. You'd think I'd track mud across her white carpet instead of just sitting quietly by the window, rubbing my pregnant belly, wedding band shining under the chandelier. And the thing is, I didn't flinch. Not at first. You learn, after a while, to save your breath in rooms like that, to let silence do the heavy lifting. The funny part? Nobody in that crowded restaurant seemed shocked. Some glanced away, others just stared, phones halfway out, waiting to see if I'd give them a show. But Emma? She was just getting started. She sauntered off, heels clacking, that little smirk growing as she grabbed a tall glass of water. Next thing I know, she's back at my table, holding the glass high like she's proposing a toast stand. Before I could even react, ice-cold water was pouring down my hair, my dress, my skin. The whole room gasped like they'd just seen a car crash. Still, I kept my cool. My hands automatically cradle my belly, my face a mask calm, unreadable, just the way I'd practiced all my life. Emma laughed, turned her back, probably thinking she'd just put me in my place. But right then, a sharp cough cut through the noise deep, clipped, impossible to ignore. I looked up. Two men in black suits had just stepped inside, faces hard as granite, eyes scanning the room until they landed on me. You could feel the mood shift, tension thick enough to slice with a steak knife. Emma's grin faded as the maitre d', pale as linen, hustled toward the newcomers. Then the whispers started soft at first, then building. That's John Carter's crew. If you've lived in Chicago long enough, you know that name. John Carter guy every newspaper tiptoes around, the man nobody messes with, not if you value your kneecaps. Emma turned to me, confusion sliding into terror as the pieces clicked together in her mind to ring. The way I wasn't panicking, the quiet confidence. Suddenly, she realized she hadn't just embarrassed any old diner. She'd humiliated the wife of Chicago's kingpin. And that's when John walked in. There's something about the way a real boss enters a room, no fireworks, just presence. He crossed straight to me, ignoring the chaos, and gently tucked a wet strand of hair behind my ear soft, like we were the only two people in the world. But when his eyes lifted to Emma, it was like the temperature dropped 20 degrees. He didn't yell, didn't threaten. He just stood there, silent, letting the weight of who he was press down on everyone. The manager nearly tripped over himself, stumbling through apologies, trying to fix what couldn't be fixed. Emma was shaking now, her bravado gone, her apron and name tag yanked away by trembling hands. She looked so small suddenly, just a scared girl in an empty uniform. John didn't even look at her, just murmured, "Ignorance has consequences," and that was it. Cold, final like the closing of a cell door. Emma's knees buckled, and I saw the realization wash over her. She'd just destroyed her life with a single petty act. I stood up, water dripping from my hair, my dress clinging to my skin. I didn't need to say a word. Sometimes, silence hurts more than anything you could shout. I glanced at Emma. She was staring at me, pleading, but all I felt was a strange kind of pity. I slipped my arm through John's, and his men fell in behind us, clearing a path through the silent restaurant like we were royalty and everyone else just extras in our story. We didn't rush. No drama. No screaming, just that suffocating, unspoken power following us all the way out. The manager kept chasing, sputtering apologies, but John raised his hand, a simple enough, and everyone froze. Behind us, Emma's breathing was ragged, the only sound in a room that had suddenly turned ice cold. The whispers started before we'd even reached the door. "That's his wife." She poured water on his wife. The words chased us into the night. And Emma? She slumped into a chair, broken. I saw her face reflected in the window as John's car slid away into the city, headlights bleeding into the darkness. No one in that place would forget what they'd seen, but for Emma, The real punishment wasn't getting fired, or the humiliation, or even the fear of what might come next. No, the thing that would haunt her longest was the way I never said a single cruel word, just walked away, leaving her alone with the truth of what she'd done. Sometimes you think power is all about shouting, about making a scene. But that night, everyone learned something different. Real power is quiet, precise, and it doesn't need witnesses to leave a mark. I still wonder what people said about us after we left, if they blamed me for walking in, or Emma for forgetting her place, or the city for making people like us believe we could ever belong. Maybe that's the real story, where you draw the line between justice and revenge, who deserves what, and whether any of us can change the way things work, even for a second. So let me ask you, is Emma's punishment enough? Did justice get served? Or did the Real problem walk out that door with us, untouched? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear what you think about right, wrong, and where you draw the line if it was you standing in my shoes.